Thank you so much for joining me for a demo of After the Wane. This is a narrative story, so there'll be some reading from me. Thank you to the game devs so kindly for inviting me to play the demo. The release date is set to still be announced, so I'm not sure when it's releasing. 5, 6, 7, 8, you leap. Almost every morning for years you've repeated this sequence of movements. But your world is about to completely change. Everything that happened before was simply a rehearsal for what is about to happen. You glimpse the many variations. You know the steps. And yet your feet seek out the warmth of familiar tracks. And you imagine them left by a mother you never knew. Before you, an inescapable chasm. Spread your wings. You spread your wings. Why hesitate? You're ready to fly. You are alone, but you soar above. Here, nobody can reach you. A page turns, a gragnette, a fleeting moment before the inevitable plunge in this life that is about to begin. The prologue. Bar. You just finished your daily exercises when there's a knock on the bedroom door. 3 weeks. 3 weeks without access to a bar, where you've had to make do with the back of a chair, which is far from ideal. 3 weeks scouring the city, trying to find a place somewhere. Then, as the panic sets in, anywhere. You know that on the other side of the door, Andre, your landlady, probably wants to offer you a cup of tea. Again. You've managed to dodge her yesterday and the day before, but sooner or later you'll have to give in to her request, which isn't exactly unreasonable. Up until this week, she's left you alone, probably because the other rooms have been occupied by the stream of tourists visiting the city. But with the arrival of September, the house had emptied out and the old lady's attention had shifted on to her favorite niece's little protege. We're not yet at the stage where she can come into the bedroom uninvited. If you ignore her, she'll probably go away. We'll answer. Yes? You open the door a crack. I've made some tea, and I'd be very happy if you joined me, Lena. Okay. Give me a couple minutes, I'm coming. I'll be in the kitchen. You quickly finish getting ready, and then you head downstairs. As you approach the area on the ground floor set aside for your landlady, the scent of freshly baked cookies gets stronger. You go through the door marked private and enter an immaculate, if rather outmoded, kitchen. An old gas stove, the kettle, coughs up little clouds of steam. On the table, unsurprisingly, is a plate overflowing with mouth-watering chocolate cookies, still warm. Andre waves you to a seat before she pours the tea. I've been meaning to spend a little time with you since you've got here, but to know each other... I've been meaning to spend a little time with you since you got here. Get to know each other a bit, but I haven't had a minute to myself. Now that the kids are back in school, it'll be quieter. It might even be just the two of us until the midterm break. I hope I get a place somewhere before then. Considering what Ariella told me, it'd be surprising if you didn't, don't you think? Perseverance. Okay, a little bit of perseverance and you'll get there. I'm sure of it. Have you been to the National Opera? It's the first thing you done, and they were the first to make you understand there was no chance. A waiting list as long as your arm. A pitiful chance of even getting an audition. I'm on the waiting list. Ah, that's a shame. But you have to realize that places in such a prestigious corps de ballet are very hard to get. Any mispronunciation of words, I'm so sorry. Off screen, I am Googling how to say them. Let's see. I imagine the waiting list must be very long, and if I were you, I wouldn't count on that. Wouldn't it be more realistic to aim a little lower? For starters, at least? Don't expect everything to just fall into your lap. You know, I've met a lot of performers, and you've got to make your mark. I should know. You know, things have changed since the 50s. Oh, don't go thinking it was easier for us. I've known hardship. I might have still been a child, but I lived through the war. And don't be thinking things were easy after the liberation. There was a whole country to rebuild. Did you know we boarded American soldiers during the liberation? It was amazing. They play music every night in the parlor. We had never heard jazz before. You'll see there are 2 or 3 photos from that time hanging up in the hallway. Saying that, I've always had a weakness for classical, personally. Like you, I suppose. She lays her hand on your arm in a gesture of consolation. Anyway, you mustn't let yourself be beaten. I'm sure you'll get there eventually. You just have to do what it takes. I'm not about to give up. And not while I haven't exhausted every possibility. Speaking of which... yes, of course. Don't let me keep you. You thank Andre and leave. Just the time to grab your bag and jacket. A few minutes later, you're out on the street. You're glad to be out of your aunt's house. The heavy atmosphere there is starting to get on your nerves. Yes. That and my finances, I thought I'd be fine for a few months with what I saved up, the last of Mommy's money. I didn't realize that day-to-day life in a big city would be so expensive. The price of the room is fairly reasonable, but having to eat out for every meal is costing me a packet. I really have to be careful. It's like my savings are evaporating before my eyes. I'll have to. What's the matter? I don't know. I felt something. Something familiar and strange. It's intriguing. You want to know more. Follow your intuition. You start walking again faster, weaving through the tangle of little streets so characteristic of this part of the city. The rain, which had only threatened until now, begins to pelt down. You huddle beneath your umbrella, determined to find the source of the strange sensation. Your steps take you, with a hook to the left and about face to the right, toward the heart of the city. You find yourself in a narrow, cobbled street which slopes gently upward, with an inexplicable sense of déjà vu. Though this is an area you've never set foot in before. It's so far from the theaters and from the main thoroughfares that join the bridges. There's a guy sheltering in a doorway on your right, and he's watching you with a disturbing insistence. If the way he holds himself and his general look left any chance for doubt, the fact that he's wearing a leotard makes it unmistakable. He's a dancer. Hello? Oh, hi, Puppet. Can I help you? That's a peculiar way to strike up a conversation. What is this place? You tried to peep behind him, but the room is shadowy, and you can't make much out. He watches you with an amused smile. I'm a dancer, and you're not hiring by any chance? Ah, I suppose you just arrived in town. He continues before you even open your mouth. It's funny that you found this place by chance. That doesn't happen often. However, I'm sorry, but I need to get back. Wait, are you sure? Really? I'm just asking for an audition. No, I'm sorry. Our director is very strict about hiring. He hesitates for a moment before he adds, Look, we're putting a new show together soon. Come back in about 10 days. You'll get your chance then. However, I really do have to get back. He starts to close the door. Wait! How do I find out about the auditions? The theater's called The Outpost. That's all I can tell you. You'll have to figure it out. The Outpost? You seem surprised by the mention of this rather odd theater name. Unless, does it remind you of something? Go on, scram, please. I've already said too much. If I get caught, my ass is on the line. This time he closes the door and you hear the click of the lock. You go back up the road, unsure what to think of the exchange. It's weird. It feels like it comes from this place. You look around, searching for the street name, but on one side the sign is missing, and on the other rust has eaten away the enamel, making the letters illegible. Well, you'll have to remember the way. The rain hammers down. You need to find somewhere to take shelter if you don't want to be completely soaked. Your little umbrella isn't enough to protect you. You dash inside the first cafe that looks open. Before realizing your mistake, the cafe, which is in fact a pizzeria, is not open at all. Metallic noises mingled with Italian explicitives coming from the kitchen. You're about to turn back when a pretty tabby cat rubs itself up against your legs with a plaintive meow. Try to pet it. You bend down to pet it. The creature rubs its head against your hand, purring. Hello? I see you've met Fangio. We haven't been able to get rid of him since my sister started feeding him. You're here about the ad, right? Take a seat. Enzo, there's someone here about the ad. The noises from the kitchen stop. Someone for the ad? A middle-aged man, rigged out in a ponytail and a Hawaiian shirt, enters the room, clutching a wrench. Did we post an ad? I don't know. Ugh, never mind. The wrench goes from one hand to the other, and then the man with the ponytail sits down across from you, while the other disappears into the kitchen. Sorry about the noise. The machine per espresso is short. I'm Enzo. Are you here about the ad? What ad? I was thinking we hadn't posted the ad yet. Hey, look, sorry, we don't open for another hour, actually. Enzo begins to stand up. Wait, are you looking for someone? Considering the worrying state of your finances, you probably got nothing to lose trying your luck. Oh, are you looking for work? It's simple, we need help waiting tables, especially weekends and evenings. Have you ever done that? Yes, I've had several waitressing jobs, but in cafes. Well, this is a restaurant, but it's not so different from a cafe. Enzo just noticed the cat, which has perched on one of the tables and is giving itself a good wash, getting in the way of the table settings. Aslan. What? Can you put the cat out, please? He's managed to get into the dining room again. Ever since Aslan's sisters started feeding it, we can't get rid of it. Enzo hesitates for a moment before asking loftily. So tell me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Cut the crap, Enzo. Tell her you'll take her on a trial basis. This isn't a recruitment agency. The cat. Yeah, you're right. It's ridiculous. How many hours a week could you do? At the moment, I'm free a lot of time, but that could change. If it works for you, we'll start you off with 3 evenings plus weekends, and we'll adjust according to your availability. Okay. Can I see your ID? Just to check your age. Yes, of course. You rummage through your bag and hand him your ID card. Magdalena? Just Lena. Don't say any more. Well then, welcome aboard, just Lena. Enzo offers his hand. You shake it, almost instinctively. When can you start? Right away? Great. Service starts in 1 hour. Come on, I'll show you the kitchens. There's lockers for your stuff in the cloakroom. Aslan, have you got any small-size aprons left? It's the end of the shift. You join Aslan, who's smoking a cigarette in the restaurant's backyard. You're exhausted. You only smoke very occasionally, but you figured you could really do with one right now. You sit on the steps facing him. Is it like that every night? Yep, not exactly restful, is it? We're by far the cheapest restaurant in the neighborhood. Enzo insists we keep the prices affordable. So we've a full house every night. Victims of our own success, he says. But I hope that won't put you off, huh? We really need the help, as you can tell. He chuckles. I like a challenge. Just as well. Tell me, what do you do when you're not juggling 6 orders and 3 pizzas at a time? I'm a dancer. Ah, that's why you moved here. Yes. It's not easy to make your mark in the art communities. No, but I'm not going to give up. It's tough. A sigh escapes you before you can get a grip on yourself. Anyway, thanks for the job opportunity. My savings has just been melting away. Oh, it's not me you need to thank. It's Enzo. He's the boss. Tell me, have you heard about the neighborhood association? The neighborhood association? Yes, it's called the St. Louis Circle. We rent a place on, well, St. Louis Street. There's quite a few activities, especially the dance club. That's interesting. Well, we're having a neighborhood dinner for the association's new season, 2 weeks Saturday. In any case, Enzo's closing the pizzeria to be there. And Samira's requisitioned the kitchen to make samosas. Samira? That's my sister's name, the former waitress. And trust me, you really don't want to miss out on Samira's samosas. In that case, I guess I don't have a choice. I'm forced to accept the invitation. The door into the yard opens and Enzo sticks his head out. Lena? Yes? I printed your work contract. You want to take a look and get it signed? I'll be right there. Aslan gives you a smile as you follow Enzo into the office. Act 1. Miss Sadir. The corridor light comes on and the door to Andre's apartment flies open. It's after midnight and you're just back work at the pizzeria. And after a week at this pace, you only dream of one thing, going to bed. Can I speak to you for a minute, please? Can't it wait until tomorrow? The old lady looks outraged before she says in a bewildered whisper, I'm worried about you. Okay, but be quick. It's late. You haven't got the heart to send her packing, but you're not going to put up with this kind of intrusiveness either. Seeing as you seem more interested in doing I don't know what with I don't know who, I picked up the phone and made a few calls. I've got a list for you of companies to contact. Thank you. I just noticed there's these markers here. I noticed the different sides lighting up depending on my answer. Interesting. You're welcome, but try to make good use of it. She holds out the list, and you take it. It's late. You're keeping me up, so if you'll excuse me. She leaves you standing with your list and your guilt. You climb the stairs and go into your room and flop down on the bed. Aren't you going to look at the list? I just need a minute. You let a long sigh before turning your attention to the list. The Outpost. Isn't that the name of the place you stumbled on the other day? Yes, I made a note to go back there. I don't know that name. Does it mean something to you? There are Odeons in every city of the country, but the Outpost, it's different. Do you think it might lead to your mom? That would be strange, wouldn't it? I was adopted by my grandmother a few days after I was born. There's no chance I can remember anything about her. But your grandmother might have mentioned her in passing. Maybe. I don't know. It was a long time ago now. Whatever it is, it's definitely worth a shot going to knock on that door. Yes, Andre's written down the date of the auditions. It fits with the info I've got. When will you go? She's written that the first session is on a Thursday afternoon. I'll call tomorrow to confirm. Thursday, after losing your way 3 times in the tangle of narrow streets, here you are, looking at the Outpost. Unlike your last visit, this place seems far more vibrant, almost welcoming. There's a buzz inside, as if the place had just opened up after the summer break. You push the door and find yourself transported to an unexpected world. It is indeed an old theater, but it emanates an aura of sanctity that you can feel almost physically. It's far removed from the modern buildings that you're used to, and even the National Opera with its gilding and Rococo marbles didn't have this effect on you. You're so absorbed in contemplating the Art Deco woodwork and furnishings that you didn't notice the two young men who ask you if you mind getting out of the way. You apologize and take a couple steps back. Your attention is drawn to the clothes rack. You apologize and take a couple steps back. Your attention is drawn to the clothes rack. They're moving from one wing of the theater to the other, groaning under the weight of the colorful, glittering stage costumes. On your right, a group of young women are disappearing into the corridor to backstage. They must be the auditionees. On the other side, behind the box office, a middle-aged woman is checking a list. She doesn't look like your typical ticket office clerk, with her stern aspect and the skirt suit that screams high-level draw, but lacking anyone more amenable to talk to, you approach her anyway. Hello? Just a moment. She doesn't seem in any rush to answer you, and 2 minutes later, she's still absorbed in her list. You decide to try and stay in the woman's good graces. After all, you're the one who needs the help. After a long wait, she finally raises her eyes. What can I do for you? Well, I'm a dancer and I'm here for... You're late. We're about to start. Have you got your resume? Late? It's at least half an hour before the time Andre had written down. You rummage through your bag and place the required document on the counter confidently. There's no reason to panic. A hand sneaks in from your right and takes the paper. You turn and find another woman with a dancer's physique, but middle-aged, has crept in close to you. Her ice blue eyes carefully study your feeble list of professional experiences before they come to rest on you. She gives off an aura of authority. She seems to think deeply for a few minutes before tersely revealing her decision. Follow me. Then she adds to the woman behind the counter. Lydia, could you send Arnon to the big rehearsal room, please? Without a word, Lydia picks up the intercom. The other woman is already being swallowed up into the depths of the theater. You trot behind her, trying to keep up, and you find yourself in a labyrinth jumble of corridors and staircases that you cross before emerging to a large room bathed in light. A man in a tweed suit with a mustache and small round spectacles leans back against a half-open window, smoking a cigarette. Seeing you enter, he nonchalantly tosses the butt outside before he seats himself at an old baby grand piano. Grasping what you're expected to do, you start to get ready to dance. She nudges your shoes disdainfully with her toe. You won't need these. You're not exactly delighted to be dancing barefoot, but maybe it's part of the test. Unsure, you decide not to mention it. Just as you finish getting ready, a young man enters and strides across the room. You realize immediately that it's the dancer you met the other day, who, in all likelihood, would be Arnon. Deborah? Arnon, show her the duo. Arnon quickly explains the choreography to you. You nod your head, trying to memorize the different moves you're going to do together. His confidence in the way he takes the time to let you digest the information, checking that you understand each step. His confidence in the way he takes the time to let you digest the information, checking that you understand each step, is very reassuring. Deborah comes over several times to pick you up on your position or timing. You correct yourself as well as you can. You know you're putting yourself on the line for a place in this company, and the only one that's giving you a chance up till now. Then Deborah signals the pianist, and you begin. Arnaud is watchful, attuned. He knows the routine perfectly and does everything he can to make things easier for you. Which isn't a simple task. Everything is unusual between the strange rhythm of the music coming from the piano, The series of movements which questions every academic certainty that has been etched into your body year after year. You and he, you waver over a fragile line between sophistication and animality. In his arms you fly and drop with the lightness of a swallow and the power of a hawk. Deborah interrupts you and asks you to reposition yourself. You don't understand what's wrong. Her instructions are so strange and counterintuitive. It's hard to understand exactly what she expects of you, but you have no choice but to trust her. You put yourself back in position and you begin. And suddenly time twists into creeping contractions. Nothing exists but the knot and the root, chemical wedding between you and the night. Then you're ripped from the joining of the worlds when Deborah claps her hands twice. The music stops immediately. Stop. That's enough. We'll stop there. Thank you for trying After the Wane. For more information, please visit us at NovaBox. And that is the end of the demo. That was kind of an interesting read. I'll keep my eye out on it. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again to the game devs so kindly for inviting me to play.